Aaron Burr was accused of plotting to steal half of America in 1807, and Thomas Jefferson had to put his estranged former VP on trial for treason. So Burr's been traveling through the Western Territory since 1805, recruiting followers and raising money for what he claims is a legal settlement project. But Jefferson's getting reports that Burr's actually building a private army to either invade Mexico or detach the Western Territories from the United States entirely and make himself its leader. Jefferson receives a coded letter from James Wilkinson warning that Burr plans to attack New Orleans with about 1,000 men, then march on to Mexico to create his own empire. And what Jefferson doesn't know right now is that Wilkinson is secretly on Spain's payroll, so there really was no telling if he's revealing Burr's treason or covering up his own. And Jefferson, already not the biggest fan of Burr, can't take any chances, so on January 22nd, he issues a special message to Congress declaring that a conspiracy exists against Spanish territories, and he asks for expanded powers to deal with it. He still doesn't name Burr publicly, but everybody knows who he's talking about. Meanwhile, Burr's floating down the Mississippi River with about 60 followers, not really the 1,000-man army Wilkinson described. And in February, he discovers that Wilkinson betrayed him and declared martial law in New Orleans to protect against Burr's invasion. And with this conspiracy collapsing, Burr flees into the wilderness of the Mississippi Territory, but on February 19th, federal agents capture him near the town of Wakefield. He's arrested, and he's charged with treason against the United States. And the trial becomes a constitutional nightmare. Chief Justice John Marshall presides, and he demands the prosecution prove that Burr committed an actual overt act of treason, not just planning or talking about it. Marshall applies the Constitution strictly. Since Burr never actually attacked anything or assembled an army on American soil, he can't be convicted of treason. And on September 1st, a jury returns a verdict of not proved to be guilty under this indictment, basically saying not guilty, but they're hedging their language just in case. And Jefferson remained convinced of Burr's guilt and later wrote critically of Marshall's interpretation, believing the strict constitutional reading let a traitor walk free. Ironic, given Jefferson's strict constitutional beliefs. As for Burr, he goes on a self-imposed exile in England because of his now further ruined reputation. And while there, he still tries to raise funding for a conquest of Mexico, but never succeeds, gets ordered out of England, gets told by Napoleon that he's not allowed in France. After a few years, he moves back to New York, and he uses the last name Edwards for obvious reasons. And decades later, at the age of 77, he marries a wealthy woman named Eliza, no relation to the Hamiltons, until his land speculation losses started affecting her finances, and she files for divorce after 4 months of marriage at the same time he suffers a debilitating stroke. And after almost 3 years, the divorce is finalized on September 14th, 1836, the same day Aaron Burr dies at the age of 80. Anyway, all that happens way in the future, so follow for next year, 1808, when Jefferson's embargo sorta destroys the American economy as tensions with Britain rise.